today we're making a fondant owl. So I've just got a lump of my fondant. It's quite a dark colour as this one. It doesn't really matter what colour you have it, because this bit's all going to be covered, so it won't be seen. So what I'm going to do is start by just narrowing my ball just a little bit at the top. Now it's got a crack across it. Don't worry too much about that because it is going to be covered. Okay, so I'm going to make it about that shape. Okay, so it'll stand up this way, but for the time being I'm just going to put it down like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to make some feathers for it. So I've got some pink fondant that I've just mixed. What I'm going to do is roll it out. Just make sure you've dusted your work surface. I use corn flour. If you want to see how I've made this, I do have this on one of the other videos. So I'm going to roll this out. So it's reasonably thin, but not paper thin, not as thin as you'd do it if you're doing flowers. And I'm just going to take a little circular cutter. And what I'm going to do is with each circle, I'm going to use these for my feathers. Now, just to make them a little bit more feathered like, I've got this tool here, which I've got a bit of food colouring on. And I'm literally just going to push it into my little circle like that, so you just see it's just giving it a bit of texture. And then what I'm going to do is just a bit of water on the back, and I'm going to stick it on my owl, and I'm going to start at the bottom. If you prefer to stand it up when you do it, that's fine. So again, we're going to put in an impression and we're going to stick it on. And you're literally going to repeat this several times, and we're going to work our way in a line up the body. Now we're not going to cover the whole body, we're going to do the front where the stomach would be on the owl first. So we're going to do a few lines up here. So I'll speed it up so that you don't have to sit there for ages watching this bit. So I've added a few rows on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more, but I'm going to make it a little bit paler so it changes tone as it goes up. So I'm just going to add a bit of white. So exactly the same process again. You're going to roll it out and then cut out some circles. So what I'm going to do now, just to make them look a bit more feather-like, I'm just going to put a little bit of a line using a cocktail stick down the centre of each feather, like that. If you've got space to do it on the ones underneath, do it on the ones underneath. Just pressing in to make a bit of a line, like so. I'm going to put them in too much into the bottom ones. They're not as deep, but you can't see the bottom ones as much. Okay, so that's the start of our owl's tummy. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit more white to the pink, and we're going to do the same again, but this time we're going to do it with a slightly smaller cutter. Okay, so we've covered most of the tummy now. What we're going to do is we'll put eyes here, so I'm going to leave a bit of space here where the eyes will go, and we're going to start working then from the back upwards. Then when we've got to the top of the head, put the eyes and the wings on, and we'll stick the feet on last. So I've got a brown coloured fondant here. Again, it's a bit stiff as this one because it's started drying up a little bit. If it does dry up, just add a bit of Trex, which is shortening and vegetable fat, to it, and you'll find that makes it a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to roll that out. And what I'm going to do first of all is just cut out a slightly bigger circle for the owl's tail. Okay, and I'm just going to put the patterning in, same as we did before, using the tool. And then I'm just going to stick this on the bottom like so. I don't know if you can see that very well, so that it just sticks out just a little bit, and just push that in so it doesn't come off. Then we'll start filling all the way around now with feathers in exactly the same way as we have done. We'll go part way up and then we'll start adding a little bit of the pink so that it gradually changes colour as we go up above the head. I've just gone so far up the back, and what we'll do is we'll add the wings and then we'll carry on going. So just taking the brown, in fact we'll just leave a little bit off to one side. I'm just going to divide this then into two. I'm going to start with a ball, and we're just going to narrow it at either side. Same with the other one. Try and get them a similar shape if you can to each other. Okay, so we'll start with that, and then what we're going to do is just put some lines in. Now if you want, you can do it with this tool like so, or if you prefer, you can just put your lines in with your cocktail stick, whichever you find easier. So what I'm going to do is just flatten these bits just a little bit. I'm going to add one of these to each side of our owl. So a bit of water on the back of each one. And we're going to press that onto there, just like that. And the same with the other side. So you see we've got that in there. Then what we'll do is we'll add a few more feathers going up. Exactly the same way as before. A lot of this is just sort of repeating itself. So we're just adding 3 feathers to the top of each wing that are slightly different. And I'll show you. It's literally just a round one. We've not put the marks in. I'm just going to pinch it at one end to make it teardrop shape. Bit of water on the back and stick it onto the top of the wing. Pinch it, water on the back. See, it's just created a teardrop shape, and I'll just stick it on there like that. So you see, I've now gone up the back and part way up the top of the head now with the feathers, and I'm just going to put some little lines in the middle again with the cocktail stick to make them a little bit more feather-like. Okay, and I've left this bit here because it's where the eyes are going to go. So we're going to use some white fondant next, and we're just going to roll it out. I've managed to get a little bit of brown in mine, but I'm not going to worry too much for this particular figure with it, as the feathers sometimes have mixes of colours in anyway. So I've got my white, and I'm just going to get a circle and put it next to each eye for size, for if I think it's going to be alright size wise. So I might go for the next size down on these ones, and I'm just going to cut out 2 circles. And I'm just going to push those into place on the face, one at each side, just using a little bit of water. I'll just check it out from the front, sorry, so that I can see if they're roughly even. So they're not perfectly circular shaped, but don't worry about that too much. So what we're going to now do is add like a feathering around the edge anyway. So go for your smallest round cutter, so that one might be a bit big, so we'll see if we can find a smaller one, or even a different shape. So I'm going to try it with a heart one, see if we get a different feathered effect. And what I'll do is cut out all the hearts, and then I will just stick them all the way around the edge so that the little curved bits of the hearts are just sticking out further than the circle that we've put on. If you find it easier, stick the water while it's on there, and then you can push it out like that. I don't know if you can see that very well, and we'll put them in a row around each eye. So now you've gone all the way around both with the hearts, what you're going to do is just put a little line in the centre of each heart with your cocktail stick. Mine are a bit soft, I think, so it's scuffing it up a little bit, but okay. Then we're going to take a different colour again. I'm going to go for this slight turquoisey colour, and I'm just going to roll it out nice and thin. And what I want this time is a circle that's a little bit smaller than what we've just put in. It can be difficult getting the exact right size, so just have a look at all your different ones. Now this one might be just a tiny bit too small, so what I'll do is I'll cut it out and then I'll try and make it a little bit larger. So we'll just see. So what I'm going to do, just to make it a little bit larger, just squeeze it slightly between my fingers, like so. I'm going to stick it in place with a bit of water again, trying to get it as close to the centre as you can. Sorry if I put my head in the way. So now we've done that, we need the actual eyes. So we're going to want a bit of white again. Now you can either roll it flat, cut it with a cutter and stick it in, or if you prefer, you can roll it into a ball and push it into place, so whichever you think is going to look best. So we'll cut it out and see what it's going to look like size-wise. So that's quite big against our green bit, so it might be easier. And what we'll do is we'll cut them both out with this, and then we've got roughly the same size anyway. Oh, it's the aeroplanes flying over. So a bit of water in each one, rolled into a ball, and then I'm going to push it just into the eye socket. Like so. So we're going to mix some colours for our eyes, the centre of our eyes. So I'm just mixing a purple, and I'm just going to roll that out flat. And I'm just going to get a really small round cutter. So we've got two centres for our eyes. I'm just going to wet the eye. And I'm going to push that in there. Same on the other side. Just try and get them reasonably level. Okay. And I want another colour, so I'm just mixed a bit of blue and a bit of the green, and I'm going to give the owl some eyelids. So we're going to roll it flat again. And I'm just going to take a cutter that's pretty much the same size as the eye, and I'm going to cut two circles to start with. Then we're going to narrow them down into eyelids. So we're just going to cut across. I'm just going to check size wise if that fits all right. So that does fit. I think it might be his eyelids look like they're a little bit too close, so I might make it just a tiny bit smaller. And because it's so small, I probably won't even need that one. I can just use the other half of this one. And again, we're going to put a little bit of water at the top of each eye, and then we're going to put the eyelids on. And then you can move those around until you're happy with whereabouts they are. Then if you want, we can add whites to the eyes as well. Again, just taking a really small amount of white, and this time you just want really small little round bits for the eyes. Ooh, so small that I can't pick it up. And then you're just going to want to place it on your eye. Try and get them a similar size if you can. This one might be a little bit bigger than the other one. And just push on like so. Now, if you want to make it into a lady, we can add eyelashes. And what we'll do is just put a little bit of water on the edge of that eyelid and on the other one. And then taking our black again, we're just going to roll it into a really thin sausage shape. And you want a pointy end that you can use for the end of your eyelashes. And what you're going to do is just really carefully, if you can see what I'm doing here, just run it along the edge of your eyelid and then just cut it where it meets the end, like that. So you see we've got a tiny bit over at the edge that we're just going to flick up ever so slightly. And then you're going to do the same for the other one. So I'm going to take a bit of an orange. This is more of a peachy orange. And what we're going to do is for the feet, we're just going to roll some tiny little sausage shapes. And I'm just going to stick them next to each other like this. Now that one's a little bit smaller, but this bit will be tucked under the body anyway, so I'm just going to flatten this bit here. It's going to be hidden under the body. So now for the feet, we're just going to wet this bit with a bit of water. You don't have to soak it, just a little bit, where we flattened it a little bit. And you're just going to pop it under your owl at either side, like so. Then your owl just needs a beak. You can give them quite a small one, you can give them a large one, whichever you think looks best. Okay, so I'll start with the ball. I'm just going to roll it so it's a bit narrower at either end. And I'll just put it against my face for size. Now I'm quite happy with that size. So I'm just going to pinch it a little bit so it's kind of a little bit diamond shaped. And then a little bit of water on the back. And I'm going to put it so it kind of comes in between the eyes a little bit. And I'm going to push it on there like that. And then if you want a couple of nostrils, just with a cocktail stick, put a couple of holes just in the top, just like that. So I don't know if you can see that. I'm not very good at getting things in the shot of the camera, I don't think. But that's your little finished owl. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. Thank you for watching.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.